is universal. It works for IT, for OT, for robotics, for critical infrastructure, even for defense. Its extreme efficiency is unprecedented, 11 times faster and 156 times cheaper than human teams, and operates through different agents that we can build and we can tailor to different use cases. That's the model. That's one of the things that our framework allows. Its modularity. So in terms of what we're doing today and the GRC, the architecture is simple. We have one agent that acts across different sub-agents. Each deployment produces a purpose-built agent with its own tools, memory, and regulatory resources. For Zurich, we design other instances, we design this GRC agent with 4 specialized sub-agents. The Sentinel ones that monitor regulatory resources, the Auditor that maps your control sequence framework, the Scout that assesses the risk and priorities mitigation, and the Scribe that generates the alert reports and sends automates alerts. So one engine and unlimited configuration, which is run by our proprietary cybersecurity LLM that is hosted in Europe. So one of the things that this was a real deployment. This is a security framework in Spain, and basically a regulatory organization needed an ENS high certification. Traditionally, this takes 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, considering that you have like a team of 3 to 4 persons, normally will take like 1 person. Sorry, that's more than that. So our solution across different sections on the governance, risk, and assessment, it took less than 20 minutes on this end. So this is built for high assurance environments, and we can provide these solutions for some sort of environment. As I mentioned, the protection is universal. So again, it's 11 times faster, 156 times cheaper. In terms of like another real world case studies, we show. So for example, we can show the automation of NIST 853. Like normally will take another 3 to 4 weeks manually, and our framework took like 4 hours in a high level state, and in a detail it took like 7.45 minutes. So rounded up like to 8 hours. So we provide this solution again to Spanish local governments for the NIS2 readiness. And also we are validating, as I mentioned, with the different insurance companies, not only Europeans, but also from the APAC region. Our team is specialized in AI security with across from the research team to the technology team and the business team. And basically, our proposal to Zurich Insurance Group would be a tailored deployment of the GRC agent and the sub-agents, and across like different phases. Just to understand, we divided these 3, but we are very flexible to scope and configure, to build and integrate with the different tools that you have in-house, and also to validate and scale. And we can do this as well in parallel. So that would be everything.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. The time is 5 minutes and 10 seconds, so still good. Yes, I'm going to leave the floor to Zurich once again for feedback. Yeah, there's a question for Ela.
Hi, I have a question. Because you mentioned that this is about mainly cybersecurity laws. Can it apply? Is it possible to apply it more broadly to other laws and regulations, more broadly for insurance laws, or in general, not focusing only on cybersecurity?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, that one of the concerns of the other clients and leads that we are dealing with. So that was the use case, especially the main use case was the NIS2, and the entrance was NIS2, CRA, DORA, etc. But they wanted to know if this could be applied to different regulations. So yeah, 100% can be done. The approach will be the same, and the architecture is the same in terms of the agents and the sub-agents.
All right, any other points? Okay, perfect. I think we're good. So congratulations, John. We can move to, you're welcome. We can move to the next startup, so Clarity AI.
Happy to. Let me share my screen as well. And hi, everyone. All right. Look, we've heard it a number of times now. Regulatory complexity is really accelerating, be this in the cybersecurity domain, but also be this in the way that different geographies apply to different parts of the Zurich's overall compliance oversight. But when we look at our clients, what hasn't really fundamentally changed is how these are being managed. It is still a very manual process. It requires lots of individual stakeholders. So today, what I'd like to explore is how Zurich can turn compliance and the group compliance function from often a scaling and timing constraint into a strategic advantage using Clarity AI's AI native compliance and risk intelligence platform. Regulation is no longer static. It hasn't been for a long time, and also the supervision of it is changing. Since GDPR went into force, 260 fines alone have been issued in the finance and insurance industry. And FINMA, the Swiss supervisory body, has repeatedly fined institutions for AML, not because there was actual fraud, but because AML control and government failures were detected. So even before the point of actual impact to the clients. So this is all made more complex through the fact that a regulatory change somewhere across the globe can impact very quickly and cascade into the Swiss holding levels. Let's take, for an example, a new climate disclosure rule in Singapore, as it was announced today. Like this can impact underwriting criteria for the local entity and the risk appetite, but in turn will also impact at group level the Swiss solvency test assumptions. And without automation, that requires a lot of manual interpretation, translation across legal, risk, finance, and multiple different business units. So the real risk isn't just non-compliance or fines, it's losing control of the whole operating model on how you control compliance.
Now, if the regulation is dynamic and the complexity keeps scaling globally, the answer cannot be adding more headcount. And that delaying decisions is where the risk exposure actually builds. It's not just because people are incompetent, obviously not. It's because the system is manual. We replace at Clarity AI the manual interpretation chains with machine-assisted regulatory intelligence. And this is not our first rodeo. I can actually give you an example of a POC that we're doing with FINMA, the Swiss regulatory body. So FINMA assesses the TCFD compliance of supervised Swiss institutions. And what our system does is to ingest the unstructured sustainability reports automatically. And it takes specific sections and quantitative metrics and maps them to the custom assessment criteria that have been defined by FINMA. And then it's capable of flagging, hey, these climate scenario analysis for this company lacks explicit wording on, assess quantitative scenarios, for instance. And from all of these dimensions that it analyzes, it creates a board-ready summary that can be used for engagement with the supervised companies, and it can be done instantly instead of in weeks, which allows them to scale up their supervisory efforts to hundreds of companies. Therefore, in summary, we're capable of taking structured data, summarize it, and then alert the required users and suggest required changes. As I was saying, this is not our first rodeo, so we're not a generic AI vendor. We already structured climate and regulatory data for more than 300 financial institutions across the world, managing a total of more than $60 trillion of assets under management. So we processed and structured regulation and transform it into decision-grade intelligence. And our systems are built for audit traceability, which means that every single output that we generate is explainable and documented. We obviously operate in environments where supervisory scrutiny is the norm, so the insurance supervision is simply the next logical extension.
So what we're proposing this week is to build together something that constitutes a new compliance operating system. Do you know how much you're spending on compliance totally today? Even if we're just assuming it's 200 FTE, that's 0.05% of your headcount and below any benchmark. Gaining 10% productivity on this, that's 3 million in cost savings immediately. On top of this, though, we're proposing more than just an efficiency tool. You have reduced reliance on external advisory. You've got lower probability of high impact failure, and you've got faster supervisory response, and therefore stronger credibility also with the supervisory bodies. So we believe that together we can move compliance from a reactive cost center to really a strategic decision infrastructure to make sure Zurich becomes continuously regulations ready and not just compliant at reporting time. We propose to prove this value in a quick 3-month trial on one high impact domain, bring the entire central system across all relevant regulation live in 6 months, and then decide together on a controlled and low risk rollout across the local entities, knowing that this takes time and this also takes cultural buy-in from Zurich.
All right, thank you, Benjamin. 5 minutes and 15 seconds this time, so it's good now. Don't worry too much about that. Any questions from Zurich? Yes, Barbara.
Maybe from me this time. Thank you for the presentation. Can you be a bit more specific and like tangible in what is it that you exactly would want to do with us in the next weeks in order to, you know, lower the cost and just do the magic?
I tried to stay in the 5 minutes, so apologies for rushing over the task. But what we typically do when we scale this with other companies is we focus on one regulatory domain. Like this can be AMS, it can be obviously climate governance, something that we're very familiar with. It can be outsourcing. We map the relevant regulation that's on our side, build the new screening. We have the summary capabilities, but also, and that's the important step, map the internal stakeholders and the internal documents required to bring this engine live. That what it does in the proof of value, it shows it understands regulation, it summarizes what's happening in the news, that's outside in, but very importantly, it understands the implications on your own internal policies and on your own internal data. So what this means in setting up, you need to define an IT infrastructure that works for you, something that is secure and compliant with Zurich. We then agree on the domain that we start with as a first proof of value. We map the internal documents and we show that in a real working environment, this saves time and effort for the team in their current workflows and integrates in a way that it is useful for them. When this is proven, what we typically say, we scale at group level first. That's still controlled, that's still contained. It means global regulation, but it means a team, I'm guessing up the number here, 50, 60 people, mostly located in Zurich. And then we scale across all the relevant regulatory domains. And then as a last step, and that depends very much on the appetite of the organization as well, we would then go to scale to the local subsidiaries and make sure that the head of compliance in Luxembourg, the head of compliance in Japan, etc., also uses the system in a way that it helps their teams. Did that answer your question, Barbara?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, amazing. Anything else?
Actually, on my end in return, like to the compliance team, because this was now the third pitch that says we're all AI. We're using all of this. And I think you're talking to a group here where the ways of working have already fundamentally changed. If you look at Zurich, I know you're innovative, but it's also a compliance function. Do you already have applications running? Do you have a policy in mind on how to use AI also in regulated environments? So would this be the first kind of like seed that you're planning to grow to roll this out further?
Yes, Fabian.
So, yeah, I can give an element of answer to that, but it's a complex one. So, yeah, so we do have, what we can say is that globally, of course, we already have a kind of a governance AI framework for the group, right? So everybody has to go through that, and we have to follow a certain number of rules and controls around it. But for us, this use case that you are presenting has a huge potential for us because, as you say, it's quite manually driven, and we can see a lot of efficiency gains around it, right? But then I can ask you back the same question than the first presenter. I guess you are also offering APIs and connection with other system, right? I guess based on what you showed with other customers, I'm assuming this is the basic, right, for these services.
Exactly. It's the basic access you need to provide to be able to ingest Zurich policies. The outside in, the kind of new screening, regulatory screening, summaries of this works independently. But yes, for the other, you need to have a secure way of accessing these documents. There can be standard APIs to your standard document systems, etc. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. So thank you, Benjamin, and see you in Zurich in a few days. And we can move to the next startup. Thank you. Which is DeepKeep. We have Ronnie.
Hello, everybody. I apologize that my computer doesn't allow me to turn on the camera. Okay, I hope you can see it right now, at least my presentation. So, good afternoon, my name is Ronnie. I'm the CEO and founder of DeepKeep that provide a AI security platform. We all know the benefits of AI, but there are also the dark side of AI that is related to threat risks and attacks, data leakage, code leakage, system misuse, etc. And enterprises will use AI security platform in order to secure their AI services, agents, and applications. And this is exactly what we do here in DeepKeep. We provide an end-to-end security solution that is multimodal. And when I say that it is end-to-end, we start by scanning AI models to make sure that it is safe to use, no Trojan horses, no malware, no poisoning, no backdoors. Then we move to the second part, which is automated penetration testing and red teaming to find vulnerabilities in AI models and applications of enterprises, talking about security issue, privacy issue, regulation issue, policy issue. So the model scanning and the red teaming is the offline part. Then for runtime solution, we have like AI firewall, being able to detect and mitigate threats, risks, and attacks in real time. So by that, we cover the end-to-end lifecycle. Of course, we support any kind of AI model, including agentic AIs that are multi-modal, text, images, video, etc. We have also AI Lens product, which monitor and control the employee usage of AI across the organization. And in our red teaming and pen testing and in the firewall, we have over 60 protectors to cover security, privacy, and trustworthiness aspects. Security like to prevent adversarial attack, jailbreaking, prompt injection, denial of service, privacy issue like data leakage, code leakage. Trustworthiness issue is to meet the policy of the organization, including all the relevant regulation, but also fairness issue, biases issue, etc. We meet all the relevant. We are compliant with all the relevant standards, including of course the AI Act, but much more than that. One of our core differentiators in the market is that we support multimodal. Today with AI agents, it's not only text, we have also images and video. And to the best of our knowledge, we are the only vendor that handles those multimodal, including capabilities of object detection, image classification, beside all the issue of text. We are context-aware platform, so we understand what is the use case, and based on that, we automatically tune the firewall and the red teaming. We support multiple languages natively, so including the languages that are required by Zurich, Spanish and French and Portuguese and of course English and many others. We are cloud agnostic. We support on-prem as well as a SaaS-based model, and as mentioned before, it is an end-to-end solution. If I may share a case study, recent case study with a big bank that before using DeepKeep, the false negative ratio was about 25%, meaning 25% of the prompts were not according to the policies that include, topics to talk on, specific regulation, etc. And after using DeepKeep, the success rate was 99.98%, and those are typical numbers. in terms of the POCs that we offer to Zurich, the idea is, to enable Zurich Insurance the deployment of secure and trusted AI models and applications. So we are generic in this case. Particularly, there was a suggestion to provide, a solution for AI for law and regulatory automation. And of course, we are able to build this application and to make sure that it is secure and trusted. We estimate that the duration will be 3 to 4 months, and we will have such an application or model that is secure and trusted. However, of course, long term, we see it more strategically to extend and scale across Zurich Insurance and to enable deployment of trusted and secure AI model and application according to the regulation. Few words about the company. We are 4 years old. It is patented technology. We have headquarters in Tel Aviv. We are 45 employees, but we do have also presence in Europe. We see it as a strategic market, and we have already about 15 large enterprises like Zurich that already deployed our solution, and they are very happy from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rani. 4 minutes and 50 seconds, so super sharp. Any questions from Zurich? All right, I guess everything was crystal clear. Ronnie, do you have any questions for their team?
I may have a logistic question. Right now, I am in Tel Aviv, and there are no flights from Tel Aviv to Zurich. Hopefully, it will be changed in the upcoming days, but I'm not sure yet. So my question is that if I will not be able to fly, is there something that we can do remotely?
Yeah, definitely. Like if you cannot attend in person, we are gonna simply connect you via Teams. So you can present in the morning your pitch, and then in the afternoon you can have the one-to-one meeting. So the schedule remains the same, simply online instead of in person.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, perfect. If there is nothing else, we can move forward. And we have iComply, so Asli. I think you're muted, Asli.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Asli Solmaz-Kaiser, and I'm the CEO of iComply. We help regulated enterprises answer one question: what regulation is forming right now that will impact your business in 2 to 3 years? Let me start with a problem you already know. The volume of the regulations is massive, especially for a multi-line business like Zurich Insurance, multi-country, multi-line, with all of the supervisors and consultations continuously ongoing. Massive regulations. And then the speed. Regulation forms over years, from early supervisor opinions to binding law. We know that, for instance, a BaFin circular in 2016 became DORA in 2025, 9 years of signals. So how early can you know about a regulation that is coming and monitor the signals along the way? And it is very complex. Different departments need different parts of a regulation, need different type of language, need different impact assessment. And one signal means a different thing for the different users. And of course, the stakes are very different because when a regulation comes, it can mean additional capital charges, which can mean hundreds of millions of dollars. So what we do at iComply is the first step is to detect. We detect what kind of signals are out there in the market, from media, from supervisors, from different places. And then we score all of these different signals that are coming in, a scoring that is relevant to your criteria with prioritization. So out of all of the different regulations or regulatory signals that's going on, you can immediately see what is most important and relevant for you with the criteria you have defined. And then on the delivery part, of course, it will be completely based on what the user persona is actually looking for. This is how the module and data architecture looks like, and how we can actually adapt it to you. So we have regulatory authorities, legislative bodies, scientific and news, and of course the client information as well. And all of this different information will be through scoring and triage and different references implemented to reflect the changes or the signals in the insurance platform. And when this information comes, the information is prepared as a reporting in terms to deliver specifically for the priorities of the different departments like compliance and risks, investment strategy, as well as board and executive. Also, the information that is there can be used by different users in form of chat agents or deep research or multi-agent flows in which you can retrieve your reports, which you define in the frequency you define. We are enterprise proven with global multinationals like Mars and Nestle. Our platform supports multiple languages, over 20 languages, and at a multinational scale. So what already exists is the data ingestion pipeline. So the train is actually already there. We just put new passengers inside it, AI scoring and NLP engine, our dashboards and reporting, as well as the enterprise delivery model. What we will build together is an insurance source configuration, triage and scoring logic, role-specific intelligence, as well as validation and refinement. So in a 3-month MVP, we are looking at a first model that works for you. We will be defining the scope and triage. We will be defining the data pipeline, the first intelligent outputs which you can work with, and then the last month you'll have a sandbox in which you can see and play with the results. And after the 3 months, we go on to the more on the subscription basis, and then at that moment we are automating everything so that you can actually live have all of the information which you have confirmed here at this phase. We believe that through this working together, we are able to confirm exactly your needs and then move on to the automation phase, which different countries then also benefit from. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Azli. 5 minutes and 10 seconds, so the time is good. Just a preliminary feedback. If you can zoom a little bit the text, it would be better for the corporate day because it's a bit small. Okay. So it would be like easier to read all the steps for the audience. And this said, yes, I'm gonna leave the floor again to Zurich for any feedback.
Yeah, I do have a question actually to Azil. Sorry, Fabien. I've seen in the deck and in your presentation generally, your main focus was food and supply chain. Just wanted to ask if you already had any experience in another industry, let's say the financial industry, and how hard is it to adapt your models to other use cases?
We have been actually focusing on food, and I think the most important part is actually not the technology part, because the technology, the infrastructure will remain the same. Important is actually the domain expertise. And because only if you understand what you are really doing is you can deliver real value. And so that is something that we will be developing. We are convinced that in these 3 months, of course, with your support and validation, but the infrastructure basically remains the same.
Got it. Thank you. Fabien?
Yes. So a quick one from me, and it's probably a question which is also valid for the other speakers on the reg screening. So maybe you can include that in the brief on Thursday. You mentioned about triage, right, which is quite important process, and I've been exposed to some of these tools in the past, and I saw a solution where you can actually do the triage of all the regs alerts based on some keywords, right? So for example, for compliance, you can enter anti-bribery or financial crime, and already it's helping to narrow down the triage from all the alerts you receive. So I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, and if not, can you drill down a bit on how you do the triage activities, for example? Thank you.
Yes. So how we do it is actually a little bit different. So how we do it is we define, first of all, the importance based on the different criteria. So for instance, how we have done on the food side is we said, okay, how close is it to the regulation? So is it more at the scientific level? Is it more at the supervisory level, or is it already a draft published? So that is one way of actually seeing the emerging signals. Whereas if you have, for instance, sanctions, it's going to be rated differently. So that is one approach we have taken. But it can also be multiple dimensions or additional dimensions, like you said, anti-bribery, anti-corruption. So these are additional dimensions that can be brought in as well. It is not. It's not like you can change it all the time. When the news or whatever external is coming in, it's going through this pipeline, and the pipeline, you don't see it. Of course, you can change it, but then it should go through us. And at the end, you see the results and what is most important for you. And this is also why the first 3 months are so important, because then you will see how the different news are actually being handled. And based on that, you can say, this is more important for me, this is less important for me, so that we can do the fine tuning. And then it flows. Of course, we can change it, but it's not like you can change it every time you log in.
Yeah, no, that's very clear. Thanks a lot.
Okay, wonderful. Azli, do you have any questions for Zurich?
Yes, I have actually. So I think hearing all of the different presentations, somehow we are all similar, a little bit different, but also similar. So what is your actually priority in decision making? What is the most important things for you to choose a partner?
Yeah, that's the big question for everyone, I guess, huh? Right? So it's a fair one. But I think, I think in global groups like us, it's probably the same market request. It's probably to see how a flexible and fast MVP can bring the added value to a global group, and how simply it can actually tackle this complexity we face. All of you are saying, for example, we have hundreds, thousands of regs coming. And that's by itself, the design of it is very hard to manage and handle. So I think one of the key criteria here, that's again a market need, is to look at the speed to deliver added value to manage the complexity that the international group like us are facing. I think that's really, really key as a driver. And then probably the second one I will say is how quickly it can integrate with value system we have. And for us in compliance, that's typically a GRC system, right? Where we maintain the key compliance processes. Like I said, the planning, the risk and action and the issues from assurance testing activities. If we can connect, and that's a bit my personal vision, but if this reg tracking, reg monitoring can actually connect with what we have in the BAU process of a group compliance function, like, again, assurance, risk management, the policies we handle, and so on, that will be a big, big step, I think, for the compliance world. That's my personal view.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you, Asli. Good presentation. Let's make sure once again to just increase the font, but then for the rest, for the content, I think we are on track. And we can move to Iris AI. We have Steven.
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone.